with Iris Show. That's right. Welcome in. Oh, this is going to be a lively one. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to I asked Notre Dame Twitter what their reaction would be if USC discontinues the yearly rivalry with Notre Dame. Let's see what they say. Edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni Boy out as well. Notifications on it where you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish. Emails always Irish @gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want it, you can get it. If you don't want to see my face, do it audio only. Nobody will blame you. Call-in lines. They're popping in the offseason, baby. 312-988-15. You dial it up. Tell Johnny, oh, you've heard insane. Notre Dame Fighting Irish brought to you by SI. Patreon.com/Always Irish. Former captain, leading tackler, and myself breaking it all down. All right. Very simple social experiment. I'm getting annoyed with this USC story. I'm getting annoyed at the idea they're going to weasel out of this because they wanted more TV money in the Big Ten, and they're already trying to find a way to blame Notre Dame for it, and I'm not here for that. Ain't nobody here for that. So, Johnny Boy here I went to Twitter.com or X, whatever it is, and I simply ask, as a Notre Dame fan, how will you feel if SC backs away from our yearly battle? Let's get into some of these responses. I have not seen them yet, so I don't know what we're going to get. It's better live. Like Bill O'Reilly said, F it, we'll do it live. Mike, our base is split on two teams, Navy and USC. Some say keep Navy, bid farewell to USC. Some are opposite, and I say keep USC and kiss Navy goodbye. I say bon voyage to both. Notre Dame will have suitors lining up to replace both of them. Wow. Okay, so here's what I don't get about this, though. It doesn't look like Notre Dame's looking to get rid of anybody. It looks like other people looking to get rid of us. That's my pushback on that. I haven't seen any debate about Notre Dame dropping these teams. Adam Dowling. Proves Riley scared of competition. Most SC people, want the game to be played like it always had. Riley came up with this idea. Ooh, conspiratorial, and I like it. Positive ND fan. I don't blame them. They see where Freeman has this team at it. Ooh, Corny Tony. I was more irritated with Michigan. Man, that's tough. The reason that's tough is the Notre Dame and Michigan and Notre Dame USC rivalries also get talked about together. Man, those are nothing alike. I do not look at every single year you're playing a team the same as the Notre Dame Michigan rivalry that's had these big gaps throughout different periods of time. It's totally different when it's a year in, year out, every year just book it battle. I look at those very differently. Brendan McGrath, I'm from LA and hate SC. That said, it's a staple of college football that should remain. Maybe if SC begins a rivalry with the new Midwestern Conference opponent, they have a leg to stand on. But for now, they're dangerously trending towards irrelevance. I want to see how USC holds up in the Big Ten after 3, 4, 5 years. I'm really interested to see when they settle into the Big Ten. I want to see what this all looks like. F them. Riley's scared. Mike, I'm more upset at the direction of college football. It used to have the most important regular season of every sport, college or professional. Now it's heading towards, if not the most irrelevant regular season. That's the old debate of, there's some good highlights there. The pick sixes, Saved by the Bell, Screech. Listen, that is the age-old argument of, by default, logically, you must agree that the more teams you let in the playoff, if it's 4, that's more than 2. If it's 8, if it's 12, if it's 16, the more leeway there is for more teams to make the playoff. By definition, You are lessening the value and the importance of each regular season game. That's not an opinion. That's a mathematical fact. The more games you can lose and still make the playoff, it makes each regular season game matter less. It used to be where Notre Dame had to basically go undefeated to have a shot at a championship. You go to 16 teams, I think 2 lost Notre Dame's in every time. Big difference. So that's a debate of easier to get in, harder to win once you're in, versus harder to get in, and once you're in, you only need to win a game or 2 and you're champion. That's an age-old debate. Mark with glasses, soft Kobe. Steven, like they're a bunch of cowardly Muppet sacks of crap. Brendan says, you never pull out. There's a lot of relevance to that sentence in this debate. Patrick, I actually don't care too much. And I get why Southern Cal would drop the rivalry. ND doesn't make sense for them in the context of the Big Ten. If they would just own that and admit that, we could all move on with our lives. But I don't like the spin that it's now incumbent on Notre Dame to adjust because USC wanted Big Ten money. Notre Dame wine and cheese. I don't mind them exposing themselves for the super weak school they are. What I'm going to miss is having the ability to ruin their season. As for history, ND is great with or without SC. Who says we can't create another 100-year rivalry with somebody else? There's a very modern thinking angle. Skull Cap. It's a great rivalry, but let's be honest. If they chose to walk away, they're the loser in the equation. ND doesn't need SC. William, as long as we're not walking away, I'm fine with it. I'd like to see Michigan State, Miami rivalries come back, maybe Penn State. I said that before too. I don't like this happening, but if it were ever going to happen, I'll be able to sleep at night knowing they're the ones initiating it. That's enough for me to be able to sleep at night. I don't want this to end, but if it has to, as long as they're doing it, it isn't going to ruin my sleep. I would not be able to handle that if it was our end. I'd be so embarrassed. Big Ten or not. Edson. Being in SoCal, it would suck because it's a game I have an option to go to regularly. Figures that they would try and get out of this. So there's a guy that likes that trip to the local stadium there. Domer guy, where's everybody seeing that they're ending the series? Because I ain't seeing it. Is everybody solely basing this off ND scheduling Clemson and the other chatter we heard a while back? My answer to that is multifold. Number one is, when USC got that new lady president and they were joining the Big Ten or lady AD or something, they interviewed her and they were talking about this and she skated around the entire idea, didn't commit to anything, did the whole, we would like to keep playing Notre Dame, but we're open to the idea that that may not be viable in the Big Ten. That lady planted the seeds of this. Then evidence number 2. They are not on any schedule after 26. I don't ever remember a time in my life that you couldn't pull up future Notre Dame schedules and see them a handful of years out, and you knew Stanford and Navy and SC were there. You didn't know the dates. You knew they're on the schedule. They're off it after 26. I've been saying this for a while. It is a lot easier for a school to not extend a contract that doesn't exist yet than it is to back out of one that's already been negotiated and is on the books. Those are two different exercises entirely. It will be so easy for them to simply not add a Notre Dame contract to their schedule from 27 on. Then the final piece of evidence for me is Pete Bavacqua knows what's coming and he's getting out of it. And he wants Notre Dame to have a year in, year out rivalry with a good school they could trust in Clemson. So when I'm just looking at the room, when I add it all together, this is the only logical outcome. Kyle, I don't like it, but it opens the door for ND to possibly add another good team to the yearly rotation. You could listen, man. I'm sure there are plenty of teams that aren't scared. They would love to add ND to their schedule. Fine. I'm fine with this. But Get rid of Stanford then. Like, I know they're in that ACC thing or whatever, but it's like, there's other games you could give up. It's like, if you're looking at switching some out to add a dangerous, good team or whatever, I'm not sacrificing USC to do that. Take out another game. I guess the Stanford example doesn't hold now because we have 1 foot in their conference, I guess. Just that I would share you the personal beef with an insufferering USC fan. Getting that stiff arm to the face, son. Tim. Plenty of other great matchups, which could replace them on the schedule. I like us playing more SEC teams and programs with no history with. Makes it more timely and relevant and fun to see new matchups. Mike, it's terrible for college football as a whole to lose any of these rivalries. It hurts a little more. I live in LA. We never miss CNND. If they're anywhere in the Western Seaboard, we go see them. Every 2 years, I was guaranteed a game. Not anymore. Mike, Southern Cal's on a downward trajectory like Miami over the last 20 years. Not the program they once were. Eliminating an annual series, one of the most watched games of the sport, will only hasten their decline. I don't mind it, actually. I don't like their program. They cheat. See 1964, 78, 82, and a host of others. On probation several times. I didn't. I will care history-wise because I love history and Notre Dame's history. But other than that, I don't care. Demand Freeman to run up the score at USC. Make some shirts that say the University is scared cowards on the front. USC scared on the back. It's going to be fun watching Price hurt them with his speed and Love kill them with the hurdles. Man. It will simply cause me to lose respect for USC, especially their AD and head coach, Riley. Andrew Gilmore. It will be unfortunate as the rivalry feels like it's starting to eat up again with Chad going there and Riley trying to restart the program. USC versus ND has the potential to be a game with playoff implications. It's a casualty of the new Big Two. They're soft. It's a rivalry game and it needs to keep going. Not surprised. USC, they are who we thought they were. Aaron, I wish we could replace SC with Ohio State or bring back Michigan. Michigan's back on the schedule, and I think 32, we go there. I wouldn't mind. Don't like it. Sad, but just another example of how college football is getting ruined. I'm fine with it, John. Sick of the drama. Man, I'm surprised by some of these responses. Well, as a Notre Dame fan in SoCal, I would be disappointed. I look forward to seeing ND here every other year. Man, one thing we got to say is I expected a much more philosophical debate here. Way more than I expected people to just say, I live near LA and I want to see Notre Dame in my home area once every 2 years. I'm a little surprised by the amount of those, but I'm glad we have Notre Dame people repping us in that hellscape known as LA. That would suck. Adios. The people bashing, I knew Andrew Gilmore would be good for something contentious. The people bashing USC on here don't seem to want to apply the shoe on the other foot test. ND canceled the rivalry game with Michigan, Michigan State, and Purdue in order to give themselves scheduling flexibility. We have no business criticizing USC for doing the same thing. I would argue none of those are Notre Dame USC, though. Like, it's kind of proving my point that we're mentioning all these other games because none of them is the number one rivalry. So, like, I get what Andrew's saying, but it's like there's a reason those are the games that were not continued and not this one. So I kind of get what Andrew's saying, but it also kind of proves my point. There's a reason that all those other games went by to give us scheduling flexibility and not the one with their biggest rival. Charles, I'm fine with it. Zach, I think it'll sting not having a bitter rival on the schedule. When we stopped playing Michigan every year, it wasn't that bad because we had USC still. would suck, but they're pathetic if they do it. Disappointed if USC backs out. I'm declaring South Carolina as the real USC. Wouldn't have this problem if you join the conference U blanks. I would like to remind the Butthole Connoisseur, which is a very classy screen name, by the way. I would like to remind this fine, upstanding young gentleman in society that Notre Dame would already be in the Big Ten if it wasn't for the anti-immigrant, anti-Catholic bias by fielding Yost and the rest of the power players that ran that conference that blackballed Notre Dame and told all the teams not to schedule us. Your conference is the reason Notre Dame's not in the Big Ten. You forced us to go independent and schedule nationwide, and it ended up being the best thing that could ever happen. Best thing that could ever happen. Highlighting the schedule here, the Big Ten schedule. So, okay, let's bring this back. Let's rein this back in a little bit. I'm a little surprised how many people are basing this on where they live, proximity to LA. I'll be honest. I expected more people to be mad about this the way I am. And there's a lot of like, it'll be disappointing, but we'll all move on or whatever. Or it's like, whatever. Or you know what I encourage? Maybe I'm out of touch. Old guy, right? People that were saying, you know what? It'll open us up for a new rivalry that you could have, or play in a different part of the country. Go play a game we never played before against somebody new. People that are open to that in the modern age. And it makes me wonder this. I wonder if some of this is generational. And I wonder that I'm wondering if this is one of those things where the older you are, meaning the more decades of Notre Dame USC legacy history you live through or know about, the more it bothers you. And if you're on the younger end of the spectrum, and maybe you haven't seen, think about this. If you were too young for the Pete Carroll, Bush Push, Liner era USC, and then you matured to the age where you care about Notre Dame football, you've never seen USC be good once in your life. You have no idea what it's like when they got it rolling out there and what that means for us and everybody else and what it represents. And it's like, you are how old you are. I can't blame that on anybody. But especially if you were even too young to know the Bush Push era, Pete Carroll era, obviously you don't know anything that came before that. You've never seen USC when they have that thing rolling the way they should. Maybe you just don't even realize what this should be. Now, I don't want to be ageist or like, I'm old and wiser. I have an old football soul with some of this stuff because I like Notre Dame history. But I'm just wondering if you're in that younger age bracket and you've never seen USC when they're full on. Maybe you don't have that heat that those of us that lived through the Pete Carroll, Reggie Bush era and before lived through to build up that hate. If you're in your early 20s, you've never seen USC be good. You don't know what it's like when they're the kings of college football and what that means for the country and for Notre Dame. You don't know how much that pisses you off and hurts. So I'm wondering, and again, this is just a theory I'm throwing out there. I don't know whether that's true or not, but it just occurred to me that I'm wondering if the more experience you have with this rivalry, the more it matters to you to not lose. And if you're young enough to never know them being good, it's just another team you play every year. I don't know. I'm going to wrap up by saying this. My favorite part of the USC Notre Dame rivalry has nothing to do with football. That yearly battle is a battle of competing value systems in life. Family, religion, spirituality, the collective good, doing the right thing, modesty, all that on the Notre Dame end. and then Hollyweird and everything, all of the evils that come with that place on the other side. Superficial values, just arrogance, entitlement, running over anybody to just get your way, even when you're wrong. Like, just, it's always been about those competing value systems in life, the difference between the Hollywood, LA life and Notre Dame life, and those competing value systems clashing on that field. That's the big deal to me. It isn't football. It's about the battle of those values and how important it is that we show that ours are the superior way to live and society to build. What do you guys think? Let me know. Don't forget to check out the merchandise. The link is in the description. You can browse and carouse all the different Always Irish gear. Make sure you head over there and get something for the next tailgate. Thanks for being here.